Okay, there was some issues with the microphone. I think that those lives are not so easy to do. Every time I have some troubles, somehow, some blah blah blah. This will be a perfect test also for my English, but in that other way, so the cable is less annoying. I am using a command line tool that aggregate for me the chat between Twitch and YouTube, but seems that my patch that I did 13 days ago, it's not working. Why? Well, the idea of this patch is that YouTube, it's a kind of a mess. I mean, you need to alter, because okay, I opened the code, because it requires some cookies, as you can see right here, and cookie taken from YouTube, otherwise the browser don't find the chat. Quite simple. So I did this the other day, few days ago, to be able to use it, and probably these strings are changed, so my command line tool doesn't work. And the worst part is that I need to do that in real time, because okay, now works. Okay, perfect. No, does it work too? Because the live on YouTube is required that the live is on, otherwise doesn't work. This is basically the issue that we are facing now, that I can see your comments, YouTube, Twitch, whatever. Those are the two, and I cannot find the other K. So seems that I am not able to track your comments on YouTube, but this is very strange. This is the bad part when you want to do things that are in a way not common. Yes, okay, so the URL, it's right, and yeah, so you have to deal with these kind of things, because you want people that on Twitch and YouTube can follow you. Because I have people that asked me, why are not here, why are not there, where. Well, the point is that you can see it's very complicated to be everywhere. It's not easy at all to track everything, and YouTube is creating more issues, because instead on Twitch you have an API so you can get the live chat. YouTube, it's basically as you can see, I edited the Go code of this library. Is getting the YouTube page with the player, extracting from here the JSON configuration of the player, and later use this to do a request. So it's a kind of huge hack around YouTube itself. And with this K, I cannot find it, so I don't understand how I got it. So let's try again. No. Well, the only solution for this is that I'm not following the YouTube again. I was thinking that everything was working, but this seems that YouTube is kind of against me. It's clear now that YouTube is against me. But at the same time, it's a good, as we can say, it's a good way to test my English, because you know, there was a pandemic, and it's difficult. Okay, it's not working anyway from YouTube, so the only solution is this. disable for YouTube. I will check in another day why. I am not speaking in English since years now because there isn't anymore a conference. That's the big problem. So I kind of I need to exercise a bit in English. So I chosen to do this live in English. Ask to see if it is interest to do it in English or just enough to do it in Italian. This depends on you. Anyway, I did this live just for propose two kind of live contribution today. I have chosen two different proposal for the reason I was looking to get the chat on in a way that I can check what you're saying, but for me it's just on Twitch, so I cannot see what you're saying in other platforms, YouTube. Okay, so I can hide the Discord and Telegram, yes, as I don't need them to now. It's more simple. Okay, so for today I chosen, apart all of these settings, two different kind of contribution. The first one is about web extension development. It is to implement a specific feature for my browser extension for Firefox, because on Chrome is not available because Chrome rejected it, and I don't know why. And this is the idea to implement this feature. It is this model. Basically, it's a extension that lets you to pick what are the social network that you want to share to, and with some integration supports like 30 different social networks as a settings panel and so on. There is this ticket that I already studied. It seems something that we can do together. And another one that is instead to contribute to Mozilla for the community portal that is built in WordPress and implement this feature. So I'm sad that I cannot check what are you writing on YouTube, and this is, for me, it's a problem. But this is a mess with YouTube itself that require all of these cookies to be able to have this huge blob of information. Otherwise, I cannot see what are you writing. Okay. Writing on YouTube, on Twitter, that I'm online. No. Anyway, the idea of those live streaming is to see if it is better in Italian or in English, if it is interest or not, together with my podcast, to see something different, basically contribute to something on internet. It's not just, learning a new language, so we develop together a prototype that will be never used like a lot of people is doing on live streaming. Instead, I want to do something that is easy to follow, because just we will work together on contributing to something that you can see online. So it is for you right here. Anyway, I already said anyway, yes, I guess. Okay. In the meantime that we wait someone that join us, I want to talk to you about an article that I wrote today. Yes, today. I wrote an article in English that is here because the disruptive power of NPM developers for the open source brand. The idea is kind of simple because you can see, I think that you know the story of the packages, colors and faker that was hacked by the creator to broke the entire project. Today there was released another package with something like this, but this one is more drastic because now delete randomly files if detects that you are based in Russia or in Belarus. And the idea behind this article is that all those cases are because the JavaScript developers that works on this doesn't have a lot of ethics like in the rest of the open source ecosystem. So this is hurting everyone that works with open source because people mislead what is open source because it's not anymore professional but it's becoming again amateurs. So I wrote this article this morning after I read this news because this is not the first time that is happening something like this, but somehow it's happening only on JavaScript and not in other systems. So this is kind of, I'm right because I hate JavaScript is the first line that I wrote in this article. But yes, it's on my website, so if one is interested, it's there. So if I'm not getting no one, I think that we start with browser extension development today. So I can close these and just starting. Okay, so we will work with JavaScript. I say that I hate it, I don't like it at all, but I have to use it. And this is one of the reasons because I am a browser extension developer. And this extension is one of the first one that I wrote just because there was this feature natively in Firefox that was removed with Firefox 57. Now we are on Firefox 100. So a long of time moving on this point. 3 years ago, I see now the old file is 5 years ago. So you can understand that this extension is not new at all. And if you're interested to know how many users I have another GitHub repository that track these daily. Those are the users. Today I have 1,000 users, but years ago, as you can see, I was right off near to 2,000. Well, this extension is very simple. So I think that it's time, after you see this simple GitHub repository with JavaScript, there is this model, the results of panel. So it's the case to see this in action on a new installation. So it's time that I execute Firefox Developer Edition that I used to work with developer extension. And also when I need to work with browser tools because it is a different profile. In Firefox, profiles are the amount of settings that you can have more than one profile in a single computer and you run it with different Firefox as an example. So you have Firefox Nightly and Firefox Developer Edition. So okay, the first step is to install the extension. Sorry because the UI is in Italian, but this is Firefox. So you need to go to about double dot debugging and you need to go and open the manifest.json file. this one. In this way we load the extension. As you can see, the extension now is loaded, and this is temporarily, so it is installed in a way that if I close Firefox and reopen, is like never, like this presence was never happened in the profile, so I can restart like a clean. It's written also here, temporary add-on. And now it appeared here the modal. So the extension now is running. From here I can also use these to reload all the files. Also, if Firefox or Chrome, in case you need to load it inside Chrome, is not working and not reloading automatically when you change some file, because if you change a JavaScript file, automatically will reload everything. And analyze, open the inspector in the file of the extension. So now we installed the extension, is running, and we need to contribute, to work, to code on that. So you need to open the code. Let's navigate from GitHub so you can also replicate from your home. You can see that the extension is split in two different folders, modal and options. Modal is the modal with the buttons. In my case, I divided this way, the modal to share to different social network. Options, instead, it is the settings panel of the extension. So, very easy. And you can see they are like alone. Every HTML file has its own CSS and JS. The only JavaScript that is executed inside Firefox is background. This is defined in the manifest. Background, it is needed because it lets you to integrate when you press the button in the modal to communicate back with the Firefox main process, and this file basically is open a pop-up with the URL ready for the share. As the modal, the options, and Firefox are running in a sandbox, you need to have them running alone. You cannot have them running together, otherwise it is blocked. It is the same as in Chrome. This is for security, as also now every different website is running in a different process, so you need to have a way that let them to communicate those interactions. You need to have to interact. As an example, otherwise you cannot read from the modal what is the browser that you are looking now, what is the website in the tab that you're looking now. So this is the big difference between how the browser extension was developed before Firefox Quantum, because it was everything together. Instead, now is split into different things. I want to remember that I am not following YouTube for people that is joined now, so I am using only for the chat Twitch, and this is the main difference between what is happening right now inside the extension. So the ticket is that select a text and use it for the text inside the share window. Right now, the text of the share window it is generated automatically by looking on the title of the web page. If we can see inside the code, maybe it's better to look it on Neovim. Okay. So we have not this one code is when it is opened. This is to load all the various buttons, because you can configure. If we open now the panel of settings, extensions, yes, we see that share backported, it is like this installed, and preference we have this panel. This is the panel that lets you to generate automatically this modal view. If we uncheck the social network, they will be disabled. If I open this, I still get that is not possible to share an internal window. So let's open google.com as an example. We see that there are all together here. So maybe I don't want Parler, WhatsApp, Bing. I don't remember. I am not able to recognize all of these logos, but you can unpin there. So this code here, just read from here all the settings to print them in the model and active them a JavaScript event on click. This is instead for the order, because you can also change the order with these two buttons. Also you no, this is to remove it. This is on click. Okay, this is on click is doing the magic. It is getting from here the title of the tab, generating the various parameters for the URL that will be opened in the model with the various parameters, and also with the text. So we need to act here, change the tab title variable with the text inside selected in the page. So I have to explain also to you what is doing this code. Otherwise, you are not. You cannot understand what I'm doing. I am talking about. Sorry, I'm kind of rusty with this English today. Okay, so you can see now this is the code of the modal window. So you see that there is like a incomplete URL for every social. Those are the parameters. As an example, you see title, or LinkedIn you have URL, on Tumblr you have canonical URL, on Twitter you have URL, on Facebook is you. So it depends on social network, and this code is just using the native URL API in JavaScript to populate the variable in the page, in the model. So it's adding to canonical URL the real URL. And in this case we need to change tab title here. So we need to see how we can get the selected text and share to the modal window. So for this reason I studied a bit the code of this stuff already years ago, because the ticket was opened 4 years ago by me. So I proposed in October, but 7 days ago I proposed a way, and also here so I already written to probably there is the code already here. Let's see. Okay, this is the code that lets you to run a specific code inside the tab and get this value. So the first thing to do is adding this permission. This permission is required because it's a permission. So the browser will ask, do you want to give to this browser this permission? And the permission is not, as we can see, the extension already permission to get storage cookies, because use the cookie to understand if you're using the Firefox container feature and other things. So we need to add also the permission active tab, otherwise the extension cannot do anything. Okay, upload the file. So in this case, I need to refresh this as it just manifest. Okay. Script. I wrote active tab with the wrong T. So let's go back, close this, reload. Okay, now as the permission for the active tab. So now we can interact with that. Okay, so this is saying the same things. You need to work with the background page that is our background.js file, so we cannot do it from the modal page. So we need to send this information from the modal, from the background to the modal if we do it this way. But I am not sure that it is required to use the background page. The only ways to do is this. Copy that code, that is the same right here, paste here, this is on click. Okay. Instead of this, we can use the alert console, but often doesn't work because they are different windows. It is a modal that is closed, opened a lot of times, so the browser sometimes doesn't detect the difference. Instead, this, okay, the code is executed. We see the alert inside these windows because after all this is a frame, it is like of another tab. But I didn't selected any text, so let's try again. Okay, so the code, it is working. So what we can do, it is like this. What? Seems that there is some issues again with name. Okay. It is the autocomplete that is automatically on JavaScript, and this is changing the cursor position. This happens because I don't work often in JavaScript, so I didn't check it, and at the last time I worked with those stuff, everything worked. Okay. No. Oh, okay. We need to see if it is different from empty. It is more easy that I disable the JavaScript autocomplete here. And also JavaScript if requires the braces. Okay, I did it. Basically, this code will check if it is empty or not and will use the select text. So let's see how works. No, didn't work. The text is selected. Yes. Not. It is more easy if I change the editor for JavaScript. Yep. Let's switch to another editor to avoid all these troubles. Okay. This is important always to have different editors, because when you have one that is not working, you can have always another one that helps you when you need it, as that you cannot trust technology. Yes, I say that YouTube I have some troubles for the chat, so only on Twitch I can follow the chat today. And yeah, so let's back to the code. I was working here. We need to see effectively that selected text is empty or not. So let's try again in the browser. Okay, it is not working, as we can see. Is empty. So I think that the problem is that it is getting the modal itself the focus, so is asking for the same modal what is the selected text, and is empty here. So no, now it's working. Let's see again, because we need a trustable way. Let's see. Here is empty, but here is not empty. Okay, so seems that the code after all is working. Maybe it wasn't updated inside the browser. I removed the modal, and now it's not working. Yeah, so my guess, I think is right, is executing this code inside the model, and as inside the model no text is selected, it is not looking anything. Instead, when there is the alert error, I change the focus here, so execute the code here, and there is on click. This is my opinion why it is happening. So probably we need a right to generate, execute this code on background. Sadly, because this is very a pain. Or I am able to execute inside this tab specifically. As I know what is the object. I need to execute this code in a specific tab, Google. So this code is executing. I need to execute. If it is not working, probably we need to check on the documentation. Okay, this code is not working. Probably there is an error here in JavaScript. Yep, as you can see, it's not working. But if we get the tab ID, maybe we can interact with that ID. There is the ID because we're not sure, so we need to see if we can execute this selection code we have in the model to the for tab. In this way it will be executed in the right tab, and we should get always the text. So let's move back on the documentation. Why we need to check the documentation? Because you can be the best developer, but you cannot remember what the APIs does. Get the current tab. They will execute. We will get the current tab. Mute specific head. Move the current tab. Let's see the examples. This create tab ID. Okay, I was remember right. There is here. We can define the ID, so we can do might be something like this and change back this in browsers. In this way works everywhere. Okay, we have still errors. So let's see what errors missing. Oh yeah, it was missing. Okay, Google. Okay, write Google because there is alert here, but we can remove the alert here. Selected subtext is not working. Let's see. Clean this. Let's try here. Let's see if it is working. Sestiani gli aiuti. Okay, so the here it is working. The text selection, but it's not showed here. Why? Maybe because it is inside the callback, so you cannot access it. I think that this is the reason. Let's see. Empty string, yes. This is as it is inside. We cannot read this value at all. Okay, so we need how to get this text outside the scope of this function. And it is also a way for me to start refreshing a bit of JavaScript, because it seems that I don't remember few things. No. Oh, seems that I am not the only one with this issue. It is doing the same things that I am doing. The same code. Maybe I can do it in that way. Let's see if we can use a window object a global variable for this. Let's see if it is works. And we can remove this. Let's see. Tab is not defined. You're right, because here I'm not didn't share the tab. So let's try again. Undefined. So something is happening. It is undefined. I guess that we need to extract that value outside. Okay, in this case, it is using the internal communication system that I'm trying to avoid of the sandbox to simplify, otherwise it is very, very, very boring. I remember that there was a GitHub MDN web extension samples. Let's see what they're doing with examples, because the best resource for a developer is read someone else's code. Okay, we see context menu. Pop-up, background script. Let's see this code. Execute then. Okay, so we can try in a different way. Okay, so this API is Promise API. Let's try this, and we do. So let's see. If it is working in this way. Okay, I forgot. No, 9. Yeah, I kind of not working with the newest JavaScript. Okay, there are updates. I'll return promise. So state pending sostieni gli aiuti. It's here. And we have here. So we are finally got extracted the value. We need to see how to get this value. How can get the value from a promise? This example useless. Also this one. Let's try with get promise value. Let's see let's do it with this. Yes, I created an autosync function. Let's try. I created, this one is not async, so I'm calling async stuff is not getting anything. So I can do it in that way. Remove a function. I will still get the same issue because on click is not async. Yep. Another idea can be execute all of this code inside here, but I don't like so much this idea. But it's an option. I hate JavaScript. I just want the value of the promise. You see, with JavaScript, the most of time is on documentation. we are inside another function, so probably this is the right one. Identifier, no. Okay, so there are two ways to get the value, it seems. We need to do this. Let's try in that way. Let's see. Oh yeah, there are two. Object promise again. Pending. Is still pending. Let's see if these work. Okay, in this way I am getting the value. So. No. It's not working. Also because all the examples are on printing, so it's not getting outside this value, but it's just if I try with this code and changing it, let's try in this way. I think that is working. But this is getting the text from the wrong tab. And insists to get the text from the wrong tab. Or it is returning to me the code. It is returning to me the code. I loved so much JavaScript. You can feel it from my voice. How much I love JavaScript. But so basically, promise are for async stuff. And it's not possible to convert async stuff to sync stuff. Already said stuff. This is a pain. Okay, so the function is async. I need to get the value let's do in my way. Okay, it was kind of lagging, and GitHub the search works better when logged. So let's see if others had my same issue. Okay, so they put the function inside an async function, and this is an await. Test is not defined. Linear. Oh, yes, here. Not defined. Okay. So is now getting that value, but I can do this. Let's see if I did it. Yes, in the right window. Okay, yes, we do it. And it was also to me an exercise. Let's see if it works also without selecting anything. Yes, it is now adding this in the model. So I think that the feature is implemented. This means that we can commit a new release, and also we'll commit this new feature. We can close the ticket, those are the changes. This took like 1 hour of code, mainly because we have to deal with the callbacks. But yes, we use the ticket number. Okay. The code is online. Perfect. So what is the next step when you have to do a new browser extension? Well, you need to bump the browser extension. So the last release was in October. We are doing a new release now, and we will do it together. We can close this ticket. We need to do a new ticket, a new commit. Okay, I wrote. Okay. And yes. We are ready to release a new browser extension. Also, for this one, I have the automatic deploy on Emo, so on Firefox. Automatically will be a new release with this new feature, hoping that it's not breaking anything. And how we can be sure it is not breaking anything is testing that is working. Why I'm always trying with Twitter? Because it's the most fastest one on loading compared to other social networks, and also doesn't alter the text. So it is working. We saw that it's working. We can do a new release for everyone, and will be after 6 months. Okay, I did a new release. Now it's starting to generate a new version and deploy it on everywhere. So if you will install the extension of Firefox, probably you will get a new update in an hour or two with this new feature that we developed together. And I am sorry that I got taken all of this time because I'm kind of rusty with JavaScript, and we saw it. The deploy, it is done, and we can see it on Firefox. Let's do the login. I see that there is no interest in doing it in English, so probably I will get back on doing it in Italian. Okay, it's written. The new version is right here, waiting for the automatic approval from Emo. They usually do kind of controls about the code if it is not minified, it is not doing malicious things, blah 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 blah. Okay, so the new feature is done for this browser extension. That is for a ticket that it was in my queue, that I opened the ticket 4 years ago, and it was still there waiting for someone else to do it. At the end I saw that it was easy, but there wasn't a thing, there was all these troubles on the JavaScript stuff, probably because I'm doing less JavaScript compared when I started this extension that I said it was started 5 years ago. So this is probably the reason, but the extension is there. So I think that for this live streaming we did it to develop it and contributing to the browser extension. And what we can do else? Well, it is not the case to open and contribute to a browser to WordPress now for the Mozilla portal. And we see that I did in the last days a few pull requests, and also the pull request that I started in the first live streaming in Italian. Now it's concluding also the unit test, and it is here for someone interested to see. So I think that for today is everything, and let's see the next time with Italian will be more interest in this kind of things, and also probably finally get a fix for this chat tool that is not saying anything to track Twitch and YouTube.